I'm just taking a look. I've just seen Hamish Mackenzie just go past my commentary position. Significant margin down on the rest of the peloton. So it looks like Mackenzie is going to be out of the race. So Belgium take over after that little acceleration. Italy wanted to test things out a little bit by the looks of it. Hector Alvarez, the Spanish rider, the 18-year-old, just trying to inject a little bit more life into the rest of the peloton. He's a very talented bike rider, Hector Alvarez, one of the favourites for this afternoon, rides for the Lidl Trek Future Racing Team. He's third in the Tour of Austria this year. Alvarez has done a lot of racing this season, 40 race days, which for a young rider is a lot. He comes from Benidorm. Peloton, number 19 here, Gomez. One of those beautiful bikes of the Keepo Kern Farmer. If you've never seen these up close, they are stunning machines. The paint job is beautiful. He's got a contract there till the end of 2028. Started the Tour of Britain, didn't finish the first stage, had a crash or a bit of illness there, I remember. But apart from that, he's had a good season. If you ever get the chance to go to a race where a Keepo Kern Farmer are actually there and look at their setup, the green of those bikes is quite amazing actually. Looks very, very special indeed. 87.5 kilometres now remain on this race, 66 kilometres an hour downhill with Belgian team in control. So the bands continue to play as the riders make their way towards Côte de Kigali Golf for another lap of racing. Imagine by the end of the afternoon they're getting pretty tired. They've been playing since 8 o'clock this morning every time the riders go past. What the lips will be like by the end of the day. 28 degrees it is now, 11 kilometre an hour winds. The wind's picked up just a little bit. It's been a fast day over here for the Scoops of Belgium. It's a team car. Team car is coming up. Scoops, here comes the Belgian team car. And of course they don't have race radios, so they can only just go back and chat, and that's not so easy to do when the tempo has been as high as it has been all day. It's a bottle, but these riders are so experienced. Jasper Scoops here rides for the Soudal Quick Step development team. He's on the specialised bike there as we head towards go to Kigali. So things have not really changed since that first attack of the day was brought back, and Belgium have been on the front for what, 60 kilometres I think now, as the crowds get bigger at the side of the road. The sun is out, it's hot, it's getting warmer, and thanks for joining me for a little bit. Michelle Gilmore, how is it out there?
Well, like you said, Anthony, it is really, really hot, and that's why you see the team director cars are giving the athletes ice to put down and try and keep their core temperature lower, just to conserve a bit of energy that they might use later in the race. But it's a strange type of heat here. It just really knocks you about.
Yeah.
And a lot of the athletes have said that it's hard to acclimatise to this heat, even though it might only be 30 degrees. It's a different, heavy type of heat.
It feels really heavy, doesn't it, when you're outside? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's super hard to breathe as well. Obviously, we're at altitude at 1,500 metres, but it seems to have an additional challenge to it with the thickness of the air.
Now, you've been outside for the day. You've had some meetings, as always. You're always busy. And you've been doing what you need to do out and about. But I'm really thankful for you joining us this afternoon for a little bit. How is the atmosphere out there? Because it does look like all the fans are out again. The atmosphere is growing, and it's another great championship day.
Well, in the vicinity of the start-finish, the finish line where we are here, it's nearly impossible to have a conversation with somebody because the drums are going, the atmosphere, it's loud, and it's impossible to have a conversation, or you have to use your voice. Normally I lose my voice when I'm commentating hours and hours, but when you're out and about here in Rwanda around the finish line, if you're trying to talk to somebody, you actually have to yell at them because everybody's so excited, everybody's smiling, happy, dancing. So the atmosphere is absolutely unbelievable out there. I'm really happy to be tuning into this men's under-23 road race for a little bit. They'll be racing 11 laps of this circuit, the same as the elite women will race tomorrow. And me, myself, well, I've been out there on a bike, and it is a tougher course than it looks on TV or on a profile or piece of paper. It's got beautifully smooth roads, being resurfaced especially for this championship, and then it's got that very, very, very hard cobble climb coming into the finish. So it's technically a difficult course for these riders, especially over the distance might be a little bit shorter than they do in other races, but here at the World Championships in Rwanda, this will certainly be a super taxing race, which begs the question of Belgium. They have got the clear favourite in the race, and they have dominated the front of the race from the start. The big question is, at this point of the race, with 83 kilometres to go, have they burnt matches too early? That's the only question. But they look pretty relaxed, sitting in a line, and they've had one teammate just do a huge job. So it looks like everything's going to plan, and they look confident coming in as race leaders and taking control of the race. Let's hope all of their riders manage with the climate here and the race.
Boris, nasabye ko ari serusi. Wagira ngo abikore
On
bike
this
mu
part of the circuit, the other day I had to stop and have a breather myself. I sat down and I had a couple of the organising committee come and ask me, would you like us to get a doctor for you? And I said, no, I'm alright, I'm just having a little rest, and I'm waiting for the Australian team to come by, and I'm going to say hello to a few friends. And I've got chatting, and the locals here are just so enthusiastic about cycling. It's incredible. Everyone you speak to, they're so happy to have the World Championships here, and they want to be helpful. They're actually wearing t-shirts that say, please ask me, and it's written right across their back. So it's just to give you a little bit of perspective, if you haven't been able to make it to this year's World Championships, it's probably something we've never experienced before in terms of the organisation. Here at the World Championships have been very, very particular about riders using these cars as a way back to the peloton, particularly more than in other races. So riders have to be very, very careful if they go back to the team car not to use any slipstream assistance from followed vehicles.
Shyizemo akasedisi.
So even though Belgium has been dominating for their race favourite, you can just see the body language that there's not really that many other riders that are not labouring and moving their shoulders and swaying side to side any more than they are, so they look like they have things in control at this point of the race. Oh, an attack coming now from the Italian. Belgium are really demonstrating that it's their job to keep this race together. Try and neutralise it with putting a rider on the wheel. And still the team will continue to chase whilst they have a rider in the break.
Two riders making their move now. This is the Italian rider who's been quite making a move at times, Matteo, and scoofs the Belgian. So the Belgian team have been riding on the front so much of today.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can see that, they put a rider to cover an attack. They had a rider protected that was, it's your job, you go and cover that attack. But at the same time, they're still chasing, even though they've got a rider in the breakaway. They're still chasing, so they've put all their cards on Wilda. They're number one rider for today.
But the fact that they've been riding all day and they believe in Jarno Widar today, do you think it's the right thing to do when we see a team like this who's basically ridden on the front of this peloton for, well, now approaching, 60 odd kilometres, 70 kilometres, and one rider in that team has done the majority of the work. Big attack again as another move starts to happen. Why do you think Belgium want to ride like that all day?
Yeah, I think it's a very big question. I had a glimpse of the screen when I was having a meeting with one of the ex-presidents of the UCI in the VIP box. All you could see was blue on the front all the time.
Yeah.
And I did ask the question, doing a little bit too much too soon? Because that's the big question. Now they all need to take a breather now, and there's still 80 kilometres left to go in this race. So that is a really big question. The tactic obviously was to keep the pace high to neutralise attacks until Widar's going to make a big move at some point, but just keep him protected, keep the pace high, and keep this race together until he's ready to go.
But we've seen teams do this before. I mean, the biggest example of this happening was Mark Cavendish in his World Championship victory, wasn't it? He was looked after all day, and he managed to win the title. But we've seen it happen in other races where Great Britain tried to control the Olympic Games and then they didn't win anything. And so it's a risky strategy to put all your team on the front like that.
Yeah, it definitely is. But like you referred to the win of Mark Cavendish, is that it also puts more pressure on you, and it's a good pressure where you say, okay, my teammates, they've done every single thing possible today. All I need to do is finish it off. So it adds more pressure when you've got a complete team like this. You can see Belgium is still back to the front, keep the pace high, neutralise those attacks, and wait for Widar to make his move. But when your team does everything they're supposed to do, you feel like, okay, I've got that pressure on me, but they've done everything, I've just got to finish it off. Perfect.
Yeah, so it's good for him then, and he does look comfortable. He's looked like he's had one problem today, where he had to come back into the race, and he was paced back by Camille Eamon, who brought him back into the race really nicely. But apart from that, he's had pretty much an armchair ride, although it's quite hard to say it's an armchair ride around this course. Whilst you've been out and about, what are people saying about the course itself? Are you getting any sense of how hard it really is out there?
A lot harder than anybody anticipated before actually coming and not even saying riding it, but riding at a race pace over a race distance. So if you look at it on paper, or you ride a lap, or study the science of road surface, all the technicalities of the scientific elements, the climate, all that kind of thing. The thing is that it's just so many different challenges here that the riders need to deal with that they can underestimate unless they've done a full race of 164.6 kilometres, 11 laps at race pace, to know if, like you mentioned it earlier, that a lot of riders rely on their power data,
Yes.
but they can't hit those data here because they're at altitude and they've got really thick air to breathe in. And cobbles are obviously taking a lot out of the riders as well. That's the toughest part of the course. So, yeah, I think the course has not been underestimated.
And now that we've seen the pattern of this racing going on, and tomorrow we'll be together for the women's race, how do you think it's going to impact on the elite races? Because they'll be watching this, won't they? There's a lot of elite riders watching this racing right now as we see an attack from Poland. How will it impact that women's race tomorrow potentially? As Pomorski goes off in front, he's been on the attack already today, right at the beginning of the race. Can you see that we'll see just a peloton like this? Can you see attacks happening? How do you see that women's race will be impacted by the course, the terrain, and what we're going to see?
Well, it's interesting because I think now that they've seen it, and I've seen out on the course myself, riders like Anna van der Breggen doing laps of race pace behind a motorbike, that there might be a chance that it's a non-eventful race because they're worried about the attrition, and it only takes a split moment to be dropped and the race is over here. It's not easy to get back because even the flat sections, they're not flat, it's very up and down, technical corners and altitude climbs. So it's possible that after what they're watching that we might just see an attritional race until the last couple of laps.
It looks like that's what's happening in this race as well, where we saw an initial attack, then riders literally came from the front group and got dropped immediately as more riders drop out of the race at this point. And they've done, 90 kilometres nearly of this World Championship. This is Lee Yu. We saw him hanging at the back for a long time today. And again, the Belgian team take control and make sure that the tempo is how Jarno Wiedar wants it. Luc Valenti of Canada was just being distanced. Rochelle, we always say about World Championships, if we haven't talked about you and we haven't seen you, then it's probably a good thing.
Absolutely. More so in a sprint race, because you will, like you said, Guido had to cover an attack, because if there's a rider that his teammates are not strong enough to cover, he will need to make that move himself. But this is a course where being protected is maybe a little bit less significant than on a long open road. You know, you roll along for 50 kilometres and you can be super protected, because you need to look after yourself on this course as well.
So you have to measure your energy, make sure you're not going over your limits, sit in the right place, not let people open gaps and everything.
Yeah, teammates I think are very important for. I've seen the locals out here, always with football, soccer, playing soccer. A couple of in the lobby, just they're amazing. They're young children.
In the lobby?
Yeah.
Really?
The young children, what they can do with a soccer ball, I sit there memorising this piece.
That is one thing that I think is giving everybody a lot of joy. I noticed Kasia Niewiadoma was posting it. She just finds the kids around here incredible, and the way that they run and they play football, and they just love the whole sports element of what goes on in this particular area. 30k an hour, Belgium still on the front. This is not good news here at the back for Slovenia. This is Jakob Marolt, he's gone. One of the Rwandan riders is also now distanced. This is Neil Kuru. Also the Spanish rider is dropped, and that is Fernandez. We're seeing more and more riders starting to feel the terrain and the tempo. Right on the back of the group though is Rabbar of Slovenia. As we pick him out on style again of Tadej Pogačar as he goes round that corner. 76.2 kilometres to go. And Belgium might have lost a couple of riders. They're still just keeping the tempo high. They're not trying to drop
riders. They're just trying to nullify attacks, just to keep it together. They don't want somebody to sneak a minute or 2 minutes on the road that they're not really that aware of, everyone's capabilities. So the safest way they want to race is just to keep that pace on the front really high. But if a rider of theirs gets dropped from Belgium, they just have to do their own hard work to get back and start helping again.
We're seeing riders who have mechanicals. It's problematic on this course, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a very difficult course for team cars to get up very quickly. And the Shimano spares, they do an absolutely fabulous job at the World Championships every year. And here it's a little bit troublesome. If you do have a mechanical, I haven't seen a fast bike change or wheel change or anything from the mechanical assistants.
No, it's all been quite steady, and we're not saying they're doing a bad job. It's just that the time for the cars to come up is difficult. It's really, really tricky. We're coming up now to the end of this lap, and we will have 5 laps of racing to go. We'll see what the average speed is this time. It was 41.079 last time, and we had 65 riders left in the main bulk of the peloton. It looks to me like we're going to have less riders this time. In Italy, now starting to be, I guess, in the ascendancy towards the front. 2 hours and 10 minutes of racing have gone by, and yet again Belgium lead as we go across the line. Camille Eamon is the rider, followed by Lorenzo Finn. The average speed drops a little bit, 44.002. So Italy now take over. Just taking a look at how many riders are left in the main bulk of the peloton. It looks like we've got 45 riders left now. Rochelle, we lost 20 riders on that lap. This is the point of the race where all your power, your fitness, all that training, all that heat, adaptation has made a big difference.
Yeah, Belgium also lost one of their own riders as well in that pace that they were setting up the cobbles over there and really hurting, so not only themselves, but what happens is they do push the pace over the cobbles and over that climb, and then they sit up like this, it all comes back together again. So but it has an effect, obviously, every time they're hurting so much the legs of the other riders.
There's a real tempo going on now. Still Belgium as they hand bottles out on the front of the race.
It's been an exciting race. All the media and hype and everything, it's all been about Belgium versus Italy. Belgium who's taken up the responsibility of keeping the pace high and doing all the work. So the Italians might be very, very happy about that, having, protecting their rider in Lorenzo Finn, junior world champion last year, and they've got also Alessandro Borgo. And when we look at that team, Rochelle, that Italian team, we talked about it a little while earlier today, that all their riders, Borgo rides for Bahrain Victorious, Simone Gualdi rides for Intermarché, Pietro Mattia rides for Fiesman Lisa Bike, and Lorenzo Finn is a world champion last year and is in the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe rookies. It's not a bad team, is it? No, it's really exciting for such a young rider to be in a team where you're in the development program, you still get the opportunity to race in the under 23. You may have mentioned earlier whilst I wasn't here that this is the first year that professionals in the World Tour and peloton can't race in the under 23. You have to make that choice if you're going to jump into the professional. If you do go into World Tour or professional, you can't race the under 23 World Championship anymore.
And that's why when you look through the list of riders for the first time, you look and think, where are the big names? But they're all development riders. But most of them are starting to move, a lot of the top riders are starting to move into the World Tour next season, so it's their first opportunity in the World Tour. They may well have been invited in to ride a World Tour race or a higher level race, but they can't be in the World Tour team.
Yeah, they can't be signed a contract with the World Tour team. So, I think I actually think it's, first of all, at first I thought it wasn't a great move, but now I think the UCI have done a great job in saying, okay, we have a junior category, we have an under 23 category, and we have an elite category at the World Championship. Now, in the case of Italy's former winner in the juniors, he now has an opportunity to win the under 23, and they'll go on to elite, maybe win a league championship one day. So I think it's great that we don't get two races very similar with similar classed riders.
Yeah.
We have an under 23 and we have a professional.
I think that's a good situation. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about heat adaptation, because some of the I've seen some really interesting things on social media of some riders where they've done the heat adaptation training for this championship, and we've seen them wrapped in wearing extra layers and being in saunas and being out training in being white, almost Hamzat suits.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the riders that have targeted this World Championships have been in heat chambers. I'm not sure if they're scientifically advanced enough to completely acclimatise and provide that air quality, and which is something that a lot of the riders, when they got here, said is just so hard to breathe, because they're in at altitude. They've been training in heat chambers at altitude at this level. But had they been able to experience the same type of air quality, which is kind of affecting a lot of the riders?
Yeah, and that's hard to do, isn't it? But why have they suddenly realised that you should be going out in these almost full suits and everything like that? Is that just literally to get your body temperature crazy high?
Well, I don't think that there's better ways, I think, they can do their acclimatisation and training than going out on the bike in sumo sweat sauna suits.
But you used to train in a sauna, didn't you? In your career?
I have done. In acclimatisation periods, yes.
Yes. And did it work, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a little bit. If we spend 6 hours a day in a heat chamber in the month before a big event, it does have some effect. But you know, in any sport and business, any aspect of life, there are so many different elements. So many. In cycling, you can do the heat chambers, you can do everything possible, but you can always get here and things are not exactly as you said.
You've done everything you can, and then you might get caught out. You just never know. Just depends how you feel on the day. Uruguay rider, number 60, is towards the back, Perez, and he's still in this group of riders, still riding well so far. We're heading now towards our next point on the horizon, which will be Kigali Golf again. It is stunning out here.
Yeah, it's absolutely. That's amazing. Yeah. We haven't been too far out of Kigali, but Kigali over 40 years and years on, preparing for this World Championship, and the places, the people and the places are just incredible. It's hard to describe. I actually had a message from Kate Bates, who is a cycling commentator, this morning. She asked me, is the atmosphere there as everyone is actually saying it is? Yeah, it supersedes what you read. You just can't comprehend it. I also said this is so amazing. They haven't missed a thing. They've covered everything here in Rwanda. So for us, and also probably for the riders and managers and the locals, it's an experience that will never be matched.
No, I agree with you. I think everyone keeps saying that, and I think it is safe to say a lot of people were thinking, oh, what is this going to be like? The organisation here is incredible. The setup's incredible. As I said yesterday, when you normally talk to team managers around a World Championship, they have all sorts of complaints. Because team managers like to complain about something.
Yeah, no, everybody's very, very happy because everything's simple and they've got help everywhere. There's so many people walking around with a t-shirt that says, please ask me. If you have a question, ask me. And even if you don't ask a question, someone will come up and say, is there anything I can do for you? There are so many people here in Kigali who have, donated their time to making sure everyone, from athletes, managers, staff, commentators, media, everybody is really, really well. They've done their job well, because I will be back in Rwanda because I want to meet more people, I want to see a lot more. And they're really, really, really nice people.
Yeah, I agree. And it would be nice to be able to go, because we've been working the entire time as we go past Kigali Golf Course. It'd be nice to go out and play 18 holes of golf or go out into the mountains and see what. Today I talked a little while earlier about Remco Evenepoel saying he thinks he's just done the most beautiful lap of training he's ever done. And just go out and see or ride the gravel tracks or do that sort of thing, because it is beautiful going to see the gorillas do that sort of thing out here in Rwanda.
Yeah, when I went to the official merchandising in the fan zone for the UCI, the gorillas, I haven't actually been back to it because I didn't have any money with me, but I've got a lot of friends that would really appreciate the gorilla with the UCI World Rainbow jersey on. It's awarded to the medalists when they're on the podium. They will obviously have a specific one that other people don't buy, but it would be, I think it's this really cute little gorilla. But yeah, it would be great to go and experience the gorillas in the wild and do a safari. So yeah, it's been a wonderful time here so far. Belgium, they're all back, so they're all back together, just taking deep breaths. But I just wonder, Anthony, that playing a positive card for the Italians, that, you know, they're obviously very, very, very confident, and they've still got numbers there, so
I'm wondering whether this is a good tactic or not, and time will tell as to whether it is, because there are riders sitting in the wheels who, yes, they've got to suffer on the cobbles, yes, they've got to suffer on the other climbs, but the rest of the circuit, they're getting towed along. And we've got riders in here we can't forget who are incredible bike riders. Jakob Omrazel, for example, of Slovenia. We've got in here Hector Alvarez of Spain. We've got Yana Wida behind his team. Maxime de Comble of France. He's in with a chance again this afternoon. But one of the riders who we haven't mentioned is Jakob Söderqvist. Haven't seen him all day. Rides for Sweden. Won the time trial the other day. An absolutely incredible bike rider. And I've been keeping an eye on him in this peloton, and he's just sitting in the wheels. He hasn't thought about being anywhere near the front. He's just sat in the midst of the group, follows the wheels, clearly feels good, and potentially could win this again as Belgium rip it up Kigali Golf yet again. And I can't believe this rider on the yellow bike on the left-hand side, Tim Rex, because he has literally been a one-man machine on the front, towing this group of riders along all day. And we're now at what, nearly 100 kilometres, and I think he's ridden about 90, maybe 80k of it on the front himself, which is amazing.
I think he's just slipped back here on fourth wheel, maybe.
Yeah, he's gone now. It's not a surprise.
Yeah.
I think they got to buy him dinner tonight.
That's a big if. So yeah, he'll call it a day now.
There he is. Finally, he's dropped. And he, for me, well, I don't know if he's dropped actually.
No, he's still fighting.
He's
That's
like Wout
incredible.
van Aert, isn't he? Is he the next Wout van Aert?
That's incredible.
He is. He refuses to be dropped. Somehow he's staying in the wheels. I don't know how he's done it. He's some bike rider. If there was the most combative rider of the World Championships, he's the one. There he is,
Yeah,
the legs.
he can't do it, and we can't fault him for that. A big 100 kilometres. What a powerhouse. He may have went further into the race than they might have given him a goal, try and get to 60 kilometres. And because I don't think the plan would have been, hey, just drive the pace for 100 kilometres.
Yeah, I'm just going to do 100k on the front now, too. T-Rex has gone. What a monster effort by him today. That's incredible. An amazing job. Now we're starting to see the pace really start to go up. We're over Kigali Golf for this time, and we're heading now towards Kimihurura, where we are going to head up the cobbles. Whoa! Now there's a surprise. Söderqvist has gone. Oh, he hasn't been feeling great. I'm sorry to have mentioned him. I've mentioned him all day, and the first time I do, he's gone. The time trial world champion, Söderqvist, is dropped, and more riders are going out the back. Suddenly, look at this, the race has been ripped apart. Eritrea have lost 2 riders out of that group. Also dropped is Gomez of Spain. Also distances Ramos of Spain. And suddenly Eritrea lose their riders in Baan and Makele. And the next group of riders just up the road with another Eritrean in it. The thoughts and hopes of many riders have suddenly been absolutely blitzed by the acceleration of Belgium on that climb. There's a problem for one of the Belgian riders at the back. Jano Wiedar is at the front with 2 of his teammates. They look for ice. He decides he doesn't need it. Australia still represented. Alvaro is on the far right hand side for Spain. He still looks good. Riders having to keep themselves cool though. We keep seeing Lorenzo Fin, the Italian Rochelle, just pouring water over himself constantly.
Yeah, at these World Championships I've never ever seen the team managers and team staff, and also even the Shimano support vehicles who are dedicated to supporting the mechanics. They need to fill their cars with water and ice. The amount of water and ice that people have needed around the hotel and out in the fan zones and stuff, it's just logistically they just ice water everywhere, ice water. I've never seen so much in my life, but it's there. They've managed it because wherever you go, there's always water and ice.
That's good news. You need it, and we've seen them handing them out in those, wrapped in those tights, and just getting set, put them down your neck, let the water dribble down your back, keep the core temperature as low as possible. Once it goes too high, then it's game over. Well, Soderquist was one of the race favourites. He's gone. Jonas Walton, the son of Brian Walton, is also now right at the back of the group. There is a chance it might come back together, but how bad are the legs after being dropped on that section? Because we're going to head our way now to the cobbles, and if the legs are bad right now, you don't have an awful lot of time to recover. That's another characteristic of this course, isn't it? That between the 2 climbs, there's only 3 or so kilometres, and there's not much recovery time.
No, definitely a course where you do not have a time to just switch off and recover, because the roads are super smooth. That's really, really nice, but there's always a corner coming up. There's always a hill coming up. It happens so quick at race pace that on this circuit there's nowhere you can really just switch off and relax. And so when you get maybe those 10 seconds to take a deep breath, but there's not much more than that.
63.9 kilometres now remain on this under-23 World Championship. Germany ahead of Sverchek and Segart. Previous winners Axel Laurence, Mark Hirschi, Benoit Cosnefroid, Matti Morich, Lutsenko, Demar, Matthews, Sieghart, Basso, Kurt Arvesen, and so many others. Riders trying everything they can to just stay in the slipstream as this race continues.
We've seen it also with the women's junior and under 23 races, how it keeps coming back together, but you know that when the pressure is really on that final climb, that there's only a handful of riders that can manage the pace, but then they back off and then it all comes back together. And you think, okay, it's back together, there's opportunities for other people, but when it comes to the climbs, they just can't match the power. So it's riders are fighting all the time to get back on, but actually when the race comes down to the finale and the big moves made, there's only really a handful of riders here that can potentially win World Championships on this circuit.
Onto the cobbles again. Having looked yesterday, I'm going to give you kudos for this, because yesterday you weren't with me, but you messaged me about an hour into the women's race and told me that the French rider would probably win the race.
Yeah,
judging by what you've been seeing.
I'd had a chance to put my laptop on and put on the UCI channel and listen to your commentary, which was fabulous, to watch a lap, and I think it was 5 or 6 months ago, I don't know, and I hadn't studied the junior races because I was here for the elite races, and I was just watching one lap, and this French girl is not breathing. She's not. Everyone else is struggling on the cobbles and the shoulders going side to side, and out of the entire peloton. So then I was late for another meeting, but I got engrossed in it. I had to watch another lap because I'm like, she's still not breathing. Every time the hammer goes down, and her teammates were doing everything that they possibly could. So yeah, it was really
about
exciting.
2 hours from the end.
Pretty exciting race.
This is the now stretch as suddenly we see an acceleration by Marco Schrettel of Austria, who goes to the front and starts the pacemaking, and he's got rid of most of the Belgian riders with this acceleration. Jarno Widar is now isolated. That's good news for any of the other squads. Also up here is Lorenzo Finn, the Italian rider. The Slovenian rider Jakub Omrazel is here as well, number 29. Big move on the right-hand side as the Spanish rider makes his move. This is Hector Alvarez, who rides for the Lidl Trek Future Racing Team. And Rochelle, what we were starting to talk about has now happened, because Jarno Widar has gone from an entire team with him a few minutes ago to no riders at all.
With just over 60 kilometres to go.
Yeah.
So this is so many riders in that peloton just sitting in there. Belgium is doing all the work. So they didn't even make the Italians contribute, who have a big favourite in Finn. So it was a big question. How is this race tactic going to work for Belgium? Now Finn is all alone, he's sitting on the front, he's driving it, but this is not a good thing.
No, it's not good news for Belgium. Suddenly this race has changed. Alvarez of Spain has gone clear with 61 kilometres to go. This rider is super talented. You cannot let him take any more of a distance, and Jarno Widar recognises that Alvarez is a rider you cannot give any sort of hope to. So Widar now starts to make the moves, because he has to be the rider to respond for the first time. We've only got about 15 riders in that front group. Suddenly the race has completely exploded.
So what happened is Belgium have used their teammates to keep the pace really high throughout this race. However, there's been so many athletes that have just been sitting in and protected and conserving their energy. And all of a sudden, in that one split moment, there's no Belgium other than Widar who can cover that move. And that's okay at the final of the race, in the final couple of laps. But when you're 60 kilometres out from the finish, if Widar has to cover every move himself with no teammates, it's going to make it a very difficult situation for him.
There's going to be some big questions asked if Belgium don't get a medal here. So it's Hector Alvarez. Coming up is the Italian rider, and that is Pietro Matteo, who's been really strong today. Widar is not prepared to close the gap on what's happening, and suddenly the hopes of Belgium are looking very much different to what they were a few minutes ago. In fact, less than 10 minutes ago, they were firmly in control. Lorenzo Finn is the Italian rider who jumps across. Italy have got they've got at least 3 of their riders, if not 4, in this front group. This is impressive. At the end of this lap, 2.5 hours of racing have been completed. The riders are coming up with 4 laps to go. The leading rider is Alvarez in the blue of Spain, followed by Schrettel of Austria, with Italy just closing the gap with Lorenzo Finn. Across the line this time, and it is hardly any riders left. Alvarez with an average speed of 41.082 kilometres an hour. The speed goes up, and at the front of the race, there's not that many riders left. There's 14 riders at the front.
This is that was an exciting moment of this race, a very decisive moment of this race, that it really does indicate to us that it may have been a mistake, the tactic of the Belgians, and it did play into the hands of the other riders and the Italian team and all the other individual riders that have the potential of winning the gold medal here. So I think they have to really, if they do get back together, really recover and reassess their strategy, and maybe just not sit on the front, rather than sitting on the front, cover these moves.
Well, Alvarez has been caught and has gone on the attack again with 59 kilometres to go. He does not want Widar and the other riders to get any reinforcements, because he's decided to go up the road, and we've only got this small group that's been absolutely shredded behind. who are all looking around and wondering where their teammates are, where their reinforcements are, and Italy, I think, are playing their card. They've asked him for one rider to come up, Lorenzo Finn, and the Austrian rider goes to the front, Schretzel, but Italy have got, 3 riders in there, and they're playing the game of, let's make everybody else ride. Widar, to me, I don't know about you, Rochelle, but to me, he doesn't have the legs, because he's finding it hard to shut gaps.
Yeah, he should have been straight on to Alvarez's move because he knows he's a dangerous rider, but he didn't, or he couldn't, that's the question, or he just hesitated, was relying on his teammates and then realised, hang on, I need to cover this one, I'm the only one that's strong enough of the team to cover this, and he struggled to do it. So Alvarez is, in my opinion, the peloton are going to start looking at each other, who's going to work, and when someone goes to the front to pick up the pace, they're going to make sure it's hard for the rest of the riders. They're not going to just sit there and pull anymore. So we're going to have a real race on our hands here because there won't be any more formation. It'll just be like riders trying to take an opportunity to get on the wheel of Alvarez, but Alvarez is in his zone and these riders are going to hesitate and look at each other. So
it's a great opportunity for Alvarez. He's decided he does not want anyone else to come back. He wants to go on the attack. It's a long, long out. 59k to do that is impressive. But we've seen attacks already today that have gone to the finish. Not this far out, but still fairly far out as Alessandro Borgo goes to the front. And on his wheel goes Jan Huber of Switzerland. Jarno Widar is playing chess right now, but every time there's an acceleration, to me, he does not have the snap in his legs anymore. Look how hard he's having to work to shut the last meter.
And that's the thing, when you come to a World Championship, you have a clear leader and you have to really put faith in that leader, and nobody can predict how the leader can feel on the day, not even before 1 moment before the race, it's not until you're actually in the race. So they did have a clear strategy, but if the lead rider for Belgium today being Widar, if he doesn't have the legs on the day, then you can have many different plans, and one may work, one may not. So obviously they realise at this point, okay, that wasn't the best tactic.
They're letting this group of riders come back. They're not too far behind. Widar closes the gap on the Italian rider who goes to the front. Here's the rundown of the chasing group of riders. Lurg of France, Widar, Marti, Henriquez, Radulovic, Schretzel, Ombrazel, Huber, Lopez, Ramirez of Ecuador has made it into this group as well, which is good news for Ecuador. There's not many riders though in that chasing group. Here's the big peloton coming, well, big, 20 riders maybe a little bit more in the chasing peloton, trying to make the junction to help out their teammates, and there's a lot of riders coming through. Here they are coming back. Soderquist is in here, so he's recovered a little bit. The USA are represented as well. Belgium have got riders in there in Aaron Docks. Sitting on the back of the group is Halvard Dolven. But if there's that sort of acceleration again on this lap, how many of these riders will come back into the race? Speed is still over 41 kilometres an hour now. 107 kilometres of racing covered on today's Under-23 World Championship. The peloton at 29 seconds. The size of the crowd here now. Alvarez was our solo leader. Now we haven't got you here for too much longer. This rider from Spain, Hector Alvarez, he looks impressive on a bike, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's made a really good move. He only has a 25-second advantage, which means if he's not so strong on the climbs, he may be brought back, but he took a very, very good moment. And he was strong, he was fresh, but a long way out, as we see, only 25 seconds with 55 kilometres to go. It's a big task.
It is a massive task, but he's still got 25 seconds. Maybe riders might come up to him. We know he's an okay climber. He won the mountains classification in Giro del Regione Friuli. Won that back in September. He was also 6th overall in the general classification in that race. He's ridden Burgos, he's ridden the Tour of Austria. He's done well in a number of different disciplines and different races. 18 years of age, third on a stage of the Tour of Austria this season. As we look down then and we come back to him, he rides for Lidl Trek Future Racing. I was saying earlier on that now the junior riders, that's the race that all the agents want to watch, isn't it? How many agents have you seen here this morning?
The sport has changed so much. I mean, with all the development, and you mentioned earlier that teams are signing riders for very long periods of 5 or 6 years now, which didn't happen in the past.
No.
And they're taking riders from a very young age and developing them, which I think is a great thing, because you stay in the same environment, you get the best out of yourself, you don't have to keep moving teams, and, learning how to work with new staff and all that type of thing. So, yeah, I think it's a great thing that these teams now are signing riders very young in the juniors, and then just they've got a steady base to develop their career over the next 6 years.
And the agents are signing them at 16 years of age, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's also for the athlete. It's nice to know that you have that security of not having to find a new team or get the results. It takes that pressure away because you have that contract. You'll have your ups and downs, but yeah, there'll be a lot of scouting going on in the junior and the under-23s. It's always been the way in the under-23s, but now they're really closely looking at the juniors.
It's amazing. Soderquist has decided to go on the attack now. The world time trial champion, he's decided to try and go across to Hector Alvarez. He was dropped, and it's probably a good tactic for the heavier riders in this group and the more sort of sprinter time trial riders. Tactically, you have to think about how, like this rider here, Soderquist, how to make best use of the course, because he's not as quick as these punchy climbers on the hills, is he?
No, he's being a bigger rider, it does make it quite tough. It was interesting. This morning I was speaking with Pat McQuaid. He mentioned he can't believe Ben Madison didn't come to the World Championship.
Oh, really?
He thinks Matt Pedersen said that the course was too hard for him, more of a climber's course. I said that I think he'd manage it if the distance was a little bit less.
Yeah. Because the men's race is what, 268k or something like that. It's
The amount of climbing accumulated over that amount of time is where they say, okay, it looks like it's a classic style rider's race, a heavy classic styles race, but when you put that distance in there, then it becomes more of a kind of climbing, smaller, skinnier type rider.
Yeah. Well, this group of riders coming across 25 seconds. And they're trying to close the gap on Alvarez. Has a little rest, shakes the legs a little bit, settles himself into this left-hander, and make his way onto the next climb. He's now reached Kigali Golf again, so he makes his way onto this rise. He'll reach the top at 51.2 kilometres of racing to go. This is the chase. Decomble of France, Scoufs, Pomorski, Dons and Soderquist. Suddenly, Belgium have a different situation with Jasper Scoufs going on the move now for Belgium. Decomble is there. Soderquist can't go with the speed of the Belgian rider. This now puts the pressure back on other teams, doesn't it? Because Widar can sit in the wheels.
Yeah, I definitely think looking back, I mean, they were very confident with their tactic, but maybe looking back, throwing out a few really, really big strong attacks, putting pressure on other team riders to chase may have been a better tactic, but you know, that this course and environment and climate makes this race so unique that it's very, very difficult to just have a set plan.
Suddenly, Alvarez is about to be caught. There's an advance party about to reach the back wheel of this rider from Spain. He's just working his way up this climb. So it looks like Jasper Skuvs is coming across.
He's pulling a big peloton with him. That's what they don't want to do. They want to put a bit of, when they use their effort, they don't want him to be protecting other riders and resting on the wheel. That's what the Belgians have done today with a lot of confidence. They've been pushing the wind the entire race until this point. From Alvarez, obviously, out there now being caught.
Suddenly the Italians are going backwards. This is not good news, but they've left Lorenzo Finn up there. This rider in front from the USA. Cole Kessler is being dropped as well. Everyone is fighting for survival because suddenly the key riders are making their moves. Munoz is also dropped. For Slovenia, Radbar is dropped as well. Alvarez refuses right now to let everyone come back, and he goes on the attack again. Schrettel of Austria is the rider who's going to have to close it. Lorenzo Finn of Italy is a very clever bike rider. He follows wheels, he surfs, he looks, he just doesn't do any work at all, Lorenzo Finn, that he doesn't have to do. And that's experience of a junior world champion who won solo last year. He's clever, isn't he?
Yeah, we'll only see Finn move when an attack goes from a rider that he thinks the peloton are not going to bring back, and he's the only one strong enough to jump over to it.
He's doing well so far, and now he's isolated because the rest of his teammates aren't there. But Alvarez continues. Some bike rider, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's made a very good decision or pre-race tactic to throw out that attack and just don't worry how close they come and yo-yo or who comes over, just ride. He's got a very clear ambition.
He's going to get some company now. Looks like Schrettel might get to him, the Austrian rider. So we'll end up with 2 riders at the head of the race, and then a group of, what's that, 20 riders behind. Another little group trying to come across of another 6 riders.
The thing I really love about this circuit, we see the breakaways and all the team tactics and all that goes on, but this circuit, because the cobble climbs so close to the finish, it really does give the strongest rider in the race the opportunity to win. So even, you know, a lucky break that I hesitated, I didn't cover or something like that, it's this course design really does show you the strongest rider on the day. Every rider's fatigued, and it comes down to those last final laps where you see only the strongest that has managed the kilometres of this race, the distance of the race, and the day and the climate. We do get to see who is the strongest on the day on this circuit. It's not a circuit where you get a lucky winner.
Well, it does show who's the strongest, who's the world champion. Dolven is actually the rider from the helicopter shot. I thought it was the Austrian rider who'd gone across, but Halvor Dolven is the Norwegian. Now that we get up close, we're able to see Dolven, number 32 from Norway, has made his advance to get to Hector Alvarez. As we head towards the end of this lap, these 2 riders combining with just under 49 kilometres. 14 seconds to the chase. This race is far from over. How many more twists and turns are we going to have before we work out who the world champion is going to be? You get the sense, as Rochelle just said, that it is the strong riders who are now at the front. It's the ones who've got the legs, the ones who are feeling good. There's some riders hiding, playing, missing turns, following wheels when they have to.
yeah, like some people may say, oh, Alvarez made a lucky move, but nobody could. He didn't attack and he got caught, he got brought back, and he attacked again. And we saw riders were fighting to get across to his wheel, and only one's managed. So we are seeing on this particular circuit the strongest riders take the rainbow jerseys.
17 seconds, Alvarez goes to the front, onto the cobbles again. Top of the cobbles will be 46.4 kilometres from the finish. We'll then have the run into the line, 3 laps to go that time. We've got a bit more of a swelling of numbers as we make our way to the cobbles, but the question is how many will make it to the top of the cobbles safely in the group. Cole Kessler at the back, wearing number 71 from the United States of America. Cole Kessler right on the back of the group, the American rider. This is Soderquist. Kessler, he also rides for Lidl Trek Future Racing, so his teammate is the rider from Spain who is out the front. This is the Austrian rider this time. This is Marco Schrettel, who's been good on the cobbles every time. And Poland in the ascendancy as well, as Alvarez kicks his way up his 10% gradient. It's been dropped now is Aaron Dox, number 12 from Belgium. Can't see Jana Wiedar for a little while. And being distanced also is the Slovenian rider, Rabbar on the right hand side. They've ridden a flat out race, haven't they? They've not held back at all. It's just been full on all day.
Yeah, it's been a very, very high speed. Average speed here for the men's under 23 race. It's such a difficult circuit. We've seen the pace, it couldn't be any higher, you know, it's just been... Alvarez was the only one who could actually increase the pace of what the Belgians were setting, and no one was able to match him at that moment. But he's just in the zone now. He may be caught, but my opinion is he'll just keep trying and trying and trying. He's obviously very strong and feeling very good.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Here comes the Polish rider coming across. This might be Gadulovic, who's trying to get there.
He's just swung off and said, come on guys, give me a hand here. But nobody able to lift the pace.
Number 12 is dropped, Aaron Dox. We saw that a moment ago. He's still fighting to try and survive. A group of riders coming across. One Italian rider in Lorenzo Finn, and as you said, Rochelle, Lorenzo Finn won't do any work until he feels like it's necessary, and now he feels like it's necessary because he's advancing at a very high rate. 4 riders coming across, and none of them are Belgian.
Yeah, it's a good time for Finn to put his effort in to get across, because while he's hurting himself, he's also hurting the other riders. So if he was to do it on a smooth surface or a flat section, he'd be protecting the other riders. But doing it on the cobbles on a steep section, he's hurting the riders as much as he's hurting himself. So it's the best place to put his big effort in to try and close that gap to the 2 leading riders.
Good job by him. So it's Lorenzo Finn, the junior world champion of last year, who pedals his way across to Dolphin and Alvarez.
Well, these cobbles are extremely hard. I've been out there on the bike, and you can't actually, the bike's vibrating, you can see there, but I've ridden a lot of cobbles, but trying to keep traction, obviously, on a very steep section. You won't see many riders out of the seat on the cobbles, but every single thing on your bike and your hands and your muscles and your skin and your eyeballs, everything's shaking, and it just takes so much out of the body, and it's such a relief to hit a smooth surface again. So I've been flicking the arms saying, come on, let's just get together now and pull this back, so we're all back in the race for the gold medal. So Anthony, this final 500 metres is extremely, extremely tough. it kicks up, and it's, you think the finish is there, but those 400, 300 and 200 metre signs, it takes so long for them to come up, but it's a climb. It's actually, it doesn't look like it, but it is a climb.
Yeah, it's a very hard finish. 6 riders in the lead now. Dolphin, Alvarez, Finn, Gandulovic, Schrettel and Huber. The Ecuadorian rider trying to come across, Mateo Ramirez. The 2 Belgian riders struggling in here now. Vidal's face is showing that this is hurting a lot. 1 Australian rider in no man's land at the back. We come up and we've got 3 laps of racing to go this time. So it is Lorenzo Finn, it just pushes on the pace a little bit more. Can Finn double up and go back to back as he asks the riders to come through? 3 laps of racing to go as we approach 3 hours. The average speed 41.229, so it's speeded up considerably. They've added 0.2 of a kilometre an hour to the speed, and on that course that's a lot. Coming across then Ramirez, Enriquez, De Combla, Marti, also Bock, Schwarzbacher, also in there Loreg. Not too many riders left. Soderquist has kept himself in that group of riders. Through the feed. This time in the race, all about water, or is it electrolytes, or is it a mix, or is it carbs still? How do the riders decide with only 3 laps to go?
A lot of the hydration with electrolytes would have been started a few days ago. Is really, really important here to stay hydrated, but there'll be no doubt that electrolytes are the #1 priority of hydration throughout this race. So they've got 2 feed zones on the circuit where the riders have an opportunity to take bottles. He's been there just asking for a little bit of help, and he actually looks, to me, he looks very fresh and good.
He does, doesn't he?
He does.
You look at the other riders in here, and there's some faces being pulled. He looks so in control.
I tell you what, the Belgians will be so disappointed that they're not in that group and they found themselves all over the place. I had an opportunity to have a quick chat at breakfast with Ton Van Dam, who is the president of Belgian cycling, and he was quite confident they were going to win the gold medal here in the under-23 men's race today. However, at this point, it looks like they're out of the game.
Well, at the moment, they are out of the game, but I just wonder about that tactic. We've talked about it a lot. It just looked like it was using up all your matches very, very early. And if they'd waited and let the other teams take control, the likes of Tim Rex, who did such a massive day on the front, if he had legs like that today, to be able to do that much work on the front, in the final of this race, if they'd kept him, would he have had the legs to right now be at the front with a couple of riders?
That's a big question, Anthony, because what he did was phenomenal. To be pulling that high pace on the front for 100 kilometres here is unbelievable. So it is he could have been the strongest in the race. They used him up as a teammate.
Well, you have to make a call. The team managers have to make a call, and clearly they decided that all eyes were on one rider and one rider only. Tactically, hasn't worked yet, but they can still rescue it. They've still got riders in the chase group as Lorenzo Finn goes into the aero tuck and says to Alvarez, come through and work. Schrettel is there, they're fully committed. Also in this group is Jan Huber of Switzerland. Behind him is number 23, Gandulovic, and then it's the Norwegian rider, Dolphin. Where's number 32 in that red jersey with a big blue stripe across the back? Lorenzo Finn goes into the back position, takes another drink. He has been drinking constantly in this race, pouring water over his head, taking a drink, keeping himself really hydrated. In comparison to everybody else, it's been more noticeable than anyone.
It shows me that he has the energy to do that, because a lot of riders are not doing that just simply because they're too fatigued, and he looks comfortable, the Italian Finn. He'll be very happy that he hasn't got Guida there to contend with. it will give him a confidence boost. He will just hope that these riders all know that their opportunity for a medal at this World Championships is now. Let's keep the pace high, and they seem to be all working well together.
Shretl tucks in on the back. He's got quite an unusual style on the bike, Shretl. He did ride for Trinity Racing back in 2022. He now rides for Tyrrell KTM. This is Belgium trying to rescue this race. Camille Eamon behind him. He's got number 15, Jasper Scoofs, and then Jarno Guidar, their favourite. And they are burying themselves to try and bring this race back together. They have had 20 kilometres of a barrage of attacks from other riders once they sensed that maybe Belgium weren't as strong as everybody thought they were in the early stages. France still have two riders in there with De Comble and Lulurg. Heading our way down towards Kigali Golf. We're going to hit there in about 5 kilometres. 4 kilometres now to Kigali Golf. And then we set ourselves up for 2 climbs yet again. But everybody's contributing here, Rochelle. Totally different squads. Everyone knows there's medals at hand, and everybody is fully into this breakaway now.
Yeah, I think these riders will give everything that they've got, because if they sit up, then the dynamics of this race completely change again. But this is an opportunity for every one of these riders to potentially win a medal at the World Championships, so all willing to put in the hard work.
Well, he's gone. It's game over for number 13, Camille Eamon. He's finished. He is absolutely exhausted. If Belgium don't get back to the front, you can't fault Tim Rex, Camille Eamon, and the workers in that squad. They have done everything they can. There's our group. We cast our eyes back, and there's the chase. Looks a lot now on that descent, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's difficult to make up time on the descent because they'll both be doing the same type of speeds. The front group, the chase group. Oh, this is a big effort. The Swiss rider proves everything he's got.
He is, because these 3 riders are going away. The 3 strongest riders in the break. Lorenzo Finn has decided time to change the game. Do you get the feeling this Italian rider's fully in control of everything that happens at the front of this bike race?
Yeah, I think he would have got a massive confidence boost from the tactics of the Belgium team, because that was really a card that was played into the hands of the Italian team, and he would have a massive confidence boost from that. And the way it's played out now, I think mentally he'll feel like, you know, when we get to 30 kilometres to go, we call that in a long race, road race, that's the business end of the bike race. With 30 kilometres to go now, they've got 38 kilometres to go, and he's decided, right, now it's time to make this race.
And he's with the 2 strongest riders, clearly. I don't know about the Norwegian. To me, he seems like he might be just hiding a little bit. But the 3 at the front seem to just have that effort, that pace. And every time the road goes uphill there at the front, 52 kilometres an hour, Alvarez is the rider who takes that corner first. We head towards Kigali Golf this time. This is the fast section, 64 kilometres an hour. The chase is now at 30 seconds, so they're not coming back at all. They come up to the boards, they're able to see, and in the background there is no sign of any riders.
He just took a look, and he knows that this is the group, this is the move. One interesting about the World Championships here, when we talk about the race tactics of this team and the race tactics of Belgium, is that at the World Championships they don't have race radio communication. So if the team director had identified that they were making a mistake and wanted them to change tactics earlier, it wouldn't be possible to get that information to the riders, and they're used to racing with race radios. But being at the World Championships, they eliminate that to make it a more fair race, a more exciting race. They eliminate the race radio, so it's not so scientifically guided by race team director back in the race car, and riders have to make decisions for themselves. And there's a timing board there just to let them know they have a 25-second advantage on the chasers.
The fact they don't have race radios, we've seen in the past, haven't we, sports directors in the pits, boards and things trying to give bits of information. But there's no way of them saying, come back to the team car, talk to me, I need to give you some information. It's all left to the rider's own devices, isn't it? And I wonder whether Belgium would have changed their tactic at some point.
Yeah, I think many years ago, having people from your team placed around the circuit with boards of communication was a really big thing that might have been overlooked on this circuit. Could have been very helpful.
Yeah, could have been.
It's just a matter of whether the riders would have the energy or focus to catch what's on that board. It's quite hard to find a place on this course where you can actually get an opportunity to read something on the side of the road under so much pressure all the time in every single part of this circuit. Yeah, Finn looks very composed, doesn't he?
There's only 3 more climbs of this to go. This is one of them. 14% its gradient. Trettel is the rider on the front. He's won the All Nations Grand Prix. He's had a number of different places. He was 3rd on a stage of the Tour de l'Avenir. What happened there?
I think chain drop or
No, he's finished. He's done. He's
just
completely
blew up.
exhausted. Belgium have no riders left. This is Jasper Scoops. He's done what he can. And he's all over the place. The Norwegian has given us the answer. He's not hiding. He just doesn't have the legs. Dolphin looks around. Also being dropped is Gadulovic, and Lorenzo Finn has decided, right, let's make everyone hurt again. He's doing this at will. He is the rider with the script of today. He's the rider who is deciding every single move in this bike race now. It's very, very impressive to watch. Gadulovic has gone. Finn presses on. He's got 3 riders with him. It's Schrettel, the Swiss rider Huber, and Alvarez is there again. Here's the chase, if there is a chase, 38 seconds, and it is totally now down to Jarno Widar to do everything he can to bring this back, because no one of the rider is going to help him. They're going to use him up, Rochelle, until he drops as well. Unfortunately, Belgium have laid this out as that's the plan.
I think Widar's best opportunity is to put his maximum effort in on the climbs on this lap that have still the cobble climb coming into the finish where he could really try to close his gap. But I'm just really not sure, Anthony, if he has the legs today to do that. If the riders in the lead in the breakaway work well together, it'd be a very hard task.
There's one more rider going to come back. Gadulovic is fighting and trying to come back. Look at the gap. You can see this bike race is all about the front now. 47 seconds to the group of the strongest riders in this under-23 World Championships. Gadulovic is coming across the entire group. Look at the 2 Spanish riders sitting behind Jarno Widar, just looking around thinking, well, keep on going because we're just going to sit here now.
That's frustrating for Widar because, in fact, I think there should be a contribution from the other nations to pull this back, because if they don't, I don't think it's possible for Widar. We can see that the lead is actually going out further and further, a second here and there.
Alvarez is working. So Spain won't chase, but there's a number of other nations in that chasing group who could. France in particular, they've got 2 riders. They could maybe decide to sacrifice a rider, but I would imagine they're just thinking, let Widar burn himself out and then we'll decide what to do. Lorenzo Finn swings his way back onto the group of riders. Italy have done a great job today.
Finn was making a point, I think, to the lead riders that are with him, that I'm not going to do everything here. If we want to be in a medal chance, we all have to contribute. And again, he's taking a gel, so he's really still in control.
Just taking his time, deciding what happens next. Gadulovic is at the back, he's not able to work. Lorenzo Finn in that aero tuck. Gadulovic pours water over his back to try and cool himself down a little bit. Finn is just having to close the gap on the three riders in front who are riding pretty hard.
Well, he let that gap go because he wanted to say to every single rider, everyone has to contribute here, you're not going to sit on. But then he realised there was one rider that's not going to contribute and that gap happened. And unfortunately, he has to do the work now just to close that gap.
In the chasing group, Max Bock of Germany, De Comble of France, Leroux of France, Guidar of Belgium, Marti and Parikas of Spain, Omsel of Slovenia, Donza of Switzerland, Lopez is in there for Portugal, Ramirez is in there as well, Schwarzbacher and Bravo of Brazil. That's the chasing group of riders. Coming round then to complete another lap. We're almost at the end of this lap and we'll have 2 laps to go. We're at 74 kilometers an hour as we make our way down this descent to complete this lap, and then we rise uphill, of course, on the cobbled section. We're nearly there now. We're about 400 meters from the cobbles. Finn is back at the front, and as we expected, France have decided that maybe they should put one rider on the front and ride for the other. Cobbler's the rider, they look like they're going to bank everything on.
So what I really love about this World Championships is the no race radios, where the riders do have to communicate directly to each other about how they're feeling and anticipate the race themselves rather than getting feedback and instructions from the team car. However, if you viewers are wondering what is under the saddle of every single rider, they have a communication device which is for safety reasons. The UCI have a control centre where they get every single piece of information of every rider, and if there is a safety issue they can relay that to the team director, and then it's a matter of getting that information to the rider. But it's a purely safety device, but it gives a lot of information to the UCI control centre, which can be conveyed to the team director.
The control centre is situated to our left-hand side, a load of people in there. 47 seconds as Lorenzo Finn stamps his way up the cobbles now. France come on to the next cobbled section, and as you said, Rochelle, the only way that Guidar is going to come into the race is to go on the move on the cobbles, and that's what Guidar has decided to do. So he's trying to save a little bit of energy. 44 seconds is the gap, and suddenly Guidar is the rider who is trying to close this quickly.
Since Guidar hit the cobbles, he's taken 2 seconds out of that lead group. So let's see at the top of this cobbled section how many seconds he's been able to gain on the leaders.
Well, look at this. Lorenzo Finn has decided he's going clear. Finn has attacked on the cobbles. 32 kilometers to go. Well, he goes clear. What a ride this is.
He goes clear, but he's only made an advantage of 3 seconds on the lead group.
Pedals his way up towards the top of this section now. Counter-attack from Switzerland, number 36. This is Huber. Trying to go. This is this little flat section, isn't it? And then it kicks up again.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it flat. It doesn't feel on the cobbles being so bumpy, and your legs are full of lactic acid. Well, this might be the winning move of the World Championships for the under 23 men.
Just riding away, Lorenzo Finn. He's getting chased a little bit by Huber of Switzerland. Suddenly Alvarez isn't able to go with the moves. Gadulovic can't either, they're all sitting on. Jano Guidar with the Spanish team sitting behind. Do they now contribute? Because they don't know whether Alvarez is there or not. So it's Lorenzo Finn, the solo leader of this World Championship for Italy. Behind him, Huber is fighting his way onto the wheel of the fast-moving Italian, which could be good news for the Italian, because he would be able to use him and help and work with him on the next lap of racing. It's a long, long way out.
Such a tough circuit, such a long race that we're now seeing Finn clearly the strongest in the bike race. 1 one rider from Switzerland able to match him on the cobble climbs. 33 kilometres to go in this bike race.
gireyo ukagure
When they get to the top of this cobble climb, that
amara
means
ukagura nababiretse
we know he looks like he's the strongest on the climbs. He's just going to have to ride now as hard as he can ride to the finish and hope that he gets there alone.
Alvarez over the top with Gavdulovic and Shretl. Now they need to chase. 1 kilometre to go to the end of this lap. The gap is 13 seconds that Finn and Huber have made. Then behind it is the group of Guido. Will be interested to see whether he's made any inroads to the move of the Italian Lorenzo Finn. The Italians just sat with the remote control for the entire first 70 or 80 kilometres, maybe even longer than that, until they decided to start to rip this race up. Here they come, and Guido has done everything he can, and look at him on the left-hand side. You have to feel for this Belgian now. He doesn't have the legs. He's in all sorts of pain. He fights his way onto the back of the group. As they make the top, these riders are already coming to the finish line. Finn looks around, Huber shakes his head a little bit. 58 seconds, the gap's gone out, Rochelle.
Yeah,
It was 43.
I think these two riders are going to go for the gold and silver. I think Finn's going to be hard to beat, but he's not going to get a lot of help. So he's going to have to, with the points that he's going to have to drop the Swiss rider, and I think he's capable of it. He looks composed.
Finn and Huber are the two leaders of this World Championship as they make their way round to complete this lap with 2 laps of racing to go. They go across the line. The average speed now has gone up again, 41.464 kilometres an hour. Here's the chase with Shretl with Alvarez and Gavdulovic. They go across the line at 15 seconds. And then Jarno Guido and the rest of the group, led by France and Ecuador, are making their way up here now, and the gap is going to be about a minute with 2 laps of racing remaining. Here they come. The boards are being banged, the crowd are expectant. 2 laps to go, up to 3 hours and 14 minutes of racing. And everything that's been done by Belgium today, unfortunately, has crumbled away. France now are trying to rescue the medals. 53 seconds is the advantage with 2 laps to go. Coming up to a minute now, and it is going to be over a minute. It was 43, and Guido is hanging on for dear life at the back. They go past the commentary box, and the hopes of Belgium have crumbled. 2 laps to go. Rochelle, just to say thank you to you. Thanks for joining us for the last, hour and a half or so. It's been great to hear your comments, and we'll see you tomorrow for the women's race.
Thank you, Anthony. It's been an absolute pleasure, and now I have some obligations, but I don't want to take my eyes off this bike race. But I'll have to leave you, and I'll have to watch the replay at the finish of this race, because it's, in my opinion, Finn looks really, really good. Huber is doing exactly what Finn needs him to do. Just contribute a bit on the flat, on the smooth surface, and I'll give it all. I've got it on the climb. If you can match me, good on you, buddy. So, yeah, thank you, Anthony. It's been a pleasure, and we'll be back for the women's racing tomorrow.
2 leaders, thanks Rochelle. This race is on now. 105 is the gap to the big chase, 20 seconds to these 3 chasers. Alvarez was the rider who started to make the moves first. He's still in with a chance of the medals as we see this rider from Brazil come back. This is Henrique Ribeiro Bravo. Still in with a chance of the medals here from Brazil. Doing a great ride today. He's flat out on this section of the course. 2 laps to go. Guido on the back. Cars coming up now. Looks like some of the team cars coming up to have a little chance to have a chat. First chance on this part of the course to actually have a conversation. And it's the team car of Spain. On the front of the race, Lorenzo Finn, the Italian rider. Well, he's Italian-British, isn't he? Dad is from Sheffield, and his mum is from Italy. He has been the rider who's decided how this race plays out. It's very rare to see a rider so young in so much control. He's been able to just decide, let's make a move here, let's make a move there, let's see how things develop. There's the timeline of what's going on behind these two leaders. At the moment, going for the medals, Alvarez, Gadulovic and Shretl. They've still got a chance of catching these two leaders if they keep pushing on. Gadulovic hasn't given up. They can still see them in front of them. Can they close the gap? But the big story is back here and this chase. As everybody looks at Jarno Wiedar, and Belgium maybe gave the indication that they had total faith in winning this race today, because everybody else is watching the Belgian rider. Sometimes tactics work, sometimes they just don't work out. Riders are human, they're not able to do everything you want them to do. Lorenzo Finn rides for the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe rookies. He's with Jan Huber. Huber is a Swiss rider. 11th in the Tour de l'Avenir. He is no slouch when it comes to bike racing. It's not a surprise that he's up here. Tour de l'Avenir of 2025, he was behind Paul Sexas, Jarno Wiedar, Jordan Norgard, Lorenzo Finn, Maxime de Comble, Pablo Torres. Jan Huber was 11th overall, behind some incredible competition in that Tour de l'Avenir. Can they continue to work together? 19 seconds. Gadulovic trying everything he can get to get himself back to the front. What a bike race this has been. Back in this group, we can see him, Enrique Bravo. He's riding superbly, isn't he? He joined the Soudal Quick-Step team at the beginning of the season. Of course, he comes from a football region where it's all about soccer. He comes from Nova Lima, lies 500 kilometres from the Atlantic Ocean. He rode mountain biking in his career. He's a good climber, the young Brazilian. He's doing well here. He now spends his time living in Girona, where so many other bike riders do. He's doing Brazil proud this afternoon. If you just joined us now, this is the race situation. Jan Huber in the red and white, Lorenzo Finn in the colours of Italy. Can he bring home back-to-back wins for Italy in World Championships? He was the Junior World Champion last year in Zurich. You may remember he rode that one superbly as well. down of Jan Huber, 20 years of age. This is a big moment for this Swiss rider. We've seen him develop, we've seen him having third places in his national championships. The Tour de l'Avenir potentially was the turning point for Jan Huber in his career so far. Before that, he was a progressing and developing bike rider. But here, being at the front of a world championship at this point in the race is a big move for this rider. Swiss cycling is starting to again produce some fantastic bike riders. Mark Hirschi was the winner here in 2018. 2.7 kilometres of racing to go. We're about 900 metres from the base of Kigali Golf for the penultimate time. In the chasing group of riders, we've got Maxime de Combe, Adrien Poricas, Pablo Ramirez, Robin Donza, Victor Laruga, Max Bock, Paul Marti, we've got Jacob Monrezel, Alva Dolven, Lucas Lopez, and we've got Jana Widar. So in that group now, Enrique Ribeiro Bravo. Well, if you've been with me all day, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a long day of bike racing. Had two exceptional bike races today, and this one is just boiling to its conclusion. On to the climb of Kigali then. Can these riders close this gap at all? It's so close, they can still kind of see the riders in front of them. But now Lorenzo Finn is pedaling his way up this climb, and he's doing what he did last year. It's almost a mirror of what happened in the junior road race last year. He was with one rider, he attacked them and left them behind. He went on to solo to victory. Jan Huber's face. It's hurting a lot, but he's doing everything he can to stay there. He dreams of a medal here for Switzerland. Finn glances across. We're coming up towards the bell soon. We're going to get to the base of the cobbled climb at 17.5 kilometres to go. The chasing group of riders are now at 1:26. Speed is still up over 41 kilometres an hour. That's where things are going on. There's the leading group of the chasers out on the course. Italy have got a good record in these World Championships, this under-23 race. Panoncini winning in 21, Battistella winning in 19. This would give Italy a massive morale boost ahead of the weekend. They've got big hopes tomorrow in the women's race. They've got big hopes on Sunday. Downhill for Hoover into that turn. In second place. We come up now to the final cobbles before we head towards the bell. Finn goes to the front, presses on a little bit more. He seems to know exactly on the course where to make the difference, where to have the advantage over everybody else. Dulovic is still doing a lot of work for Poland. He has done his country proud this afternoon. It's exceptionally warm now. It really is a lot hotter than it was when this race started. It's intense here in Kigali now. Fantastic racing roads though. Everyone knows just what the surface has been like. It's been stunning. But the cobbles are the bone shakers, the horrible bit of this race. So it's Lorenzo Finn, Jan Hoover, being chased by Hector Alvarez, Gazdulovic and Schrettel. Those are the three chasers. Behind a group of 12 riders who are now at 1 minute 36. 70 kilometers an hour into the aero tuck, downhill towards the bottom of Kimihurura for the penultimate time. There's a chance to see the group led by France. And just with a couple of bike lengths on this descent. Lorenzo Finn, who was at school in Genoa, he's from Liguria. Onto the cobbles now for the penultimate time. What is the scenario going to be on here? Finn starts to really push the pace. He attacked here on a couple of occasions at 39 kilometres. He attacked here at 32 on these cobbles last time. He has exploded this race. Now he starts to really ramp up the tempo as he pedals his way. Look at Hoover. He's just concentrating on that back wheel as though everything in life depends on staying on that little piece of rubber that's in front of him. Mentally, Hoover is so strong, you can tell that. It's pure concentration. Schrettel, shoulders going left and right. Hoover's shoulders. But he's exhausted, but he's still there. The Swiss rider is having an immense day. Lorenzo Finn checks under his arms there to see whether there's still a wheel. It's there, but it's about a metre away as Hoover fights his way back on. Pained legs, lungs burning, heart rate very, very high. The helicopter shot shows you a rider who's in control and a rider who dreams of at least getting a medal in this World Championship. Finn knows he can do with a rider. Well, this rider has been a rider of the day. Hector Alvarez is now distanced. It is Schrettel and Gazdulovic who go forward. Finn now onto a little bit of respite. Hoover. Finn looks around. He wants some company. You get that sense. Number 36, Uber. Their aero speed suits. You cannot imagine how much this is hurting Uber right now. This is like absolute the worst feeling you could have. You're in a world of hurt, a very dark place, and yet you know if you can just stay there and let your body do what you don't expect your body can do, and you might win a world championship. You can still win the gold medal here, Uber. Finn checks again over his shoulder. He knows he's still there. Shimano neutral service car looking after these two riders behind them. 220 metres of painful cobbles remain, then they go across the top, then it's about the run to the bell. It's amazing what the mind can make the body do. Uber has made it to the top of the cobbles. He's absolutely on his limit staying with the Italian. There are only two major climbs left in this World Championship. The riders are heading to the bell. We're at 20 to 4 in the afternoon. We've had a massive day of bike racing here in Kigali. Tractor wants to get rid of Alvarez, who is still fighting in the background. They're over the top of the cobbles now. They head their way now towards the bell. These two riders have been together now for 17 kilometres as they make their way to the conclusion of the penultimate lap. In about 20 minutes' time, we're going to know who's the world champion at under 23. Switzerland and Italy are the two teams that have done the job to be at the front. Lorenzo Finn and Jan Huber. Fantastic bike racing. 1 lap to go. They get the bell. That is a welcome sound, I'm sure. Let's see what the gaps are going to be. The average speed now has gone up even more. 41.563 kilometres an hour. Since Finn attacked, the average speed has just gone up. Shreto and Gadulovic, they're going to be around about 40 seconds behind at this point in the race. One lap of racing for the two chasers. The gap is immense now, 49 seconds it is. Now Huber contributes, goes to the front. This is why Finn wanted him here. If Huber wins this, it would be incredible for Switzerland. But you get the sense right now that Finn is in control. He's decided every single move. He's decided whether he needs a rider with him or not. And that's not to outdo Huber. Just Finn seems to understand the game. Alvarez is trying to put himself back in a chance of getting a medal here. He's not far behind. He's just left wanting on those climbs. And here is a very tired group of riders. They're racing for the top 10 in the world. And no longer there is a Belgian rider in this group. Jarno Wieder is gone. So the race situation now, Lorenzo Finn of Italy, Jan Huber of Switzerland joined together. Behind them, Gudulovic of Poland, Schretzel of Austria, Alvarez now of Spain, and then behind them it is a group that has completely changed. It is Marti of Spain, Monza of Switzerland, Rodriguez of Spain, Ramirez of Ecuador, Leclerc of France, Bock of Germany, Lecombe of France, Lopez of Portugal. There are 13 riders really in this bike race. Finn wants Huber to come through. Look at the look on the Italian's face. The sweat pouring off Huber. .157 is now the advantage to the peloton. Surely it's about these two riders. Fast downhill now, it's nearly 70k an hour. It's a look on the faces of the chasers. Get back and getting a little bit of instruction now. And a very tired and disappointed Jarno Wieder. Jarno Vida crosses the line now. A huge gap back from the front. 4 minutes 56. Well, you cannot fault Belgium for trying. They went out early, they rode on the front, they used all their troops, and then Italy and Spain took them on. And they have been the team, in particular the Italians, who have shown tactically how to win this race. The question is, can Finn now finish it off? Can Huber hang in there and win the sprint? We're 4 kilometres from the bottom of Kigali Gulf. Massive crowd. Head deep in times in the barriers. Finn keeps telling Huber, stay at the front, do some work, keep things going. He's the one who is dictating everything. Yet again, another drink, another bottle, more water. Gets rid of that one. Goes into this turn. Sneezes his way through. Aerodynamic with the pedals in the right position. Huber on the front, looks around. He wants the Italian to do some work. He needs to start to get a bit of cue now as to how he wins this bike race, because we don't know what the gap is. 4 seconds should be sufficient for these two riders to go all the way to the line. But if they start to mess around, things go wrong. These 3 riders will come back into the game. Dulovic in the red and white at the front. We go back to the Italian in the blue. He wants Huber to go through. Lorenzo talking English to Huber. This is the time in the race where he's really forcing everything. The gap now is shown to them. They'll know they've got 43 seconds. And Finn knows, take him with me and let's work together. They both deserve silver and gold. It just depends which one gets the rainbow bands. They have been the animators of the race. They deserve to go to the finish together and fight it out. Both of them deserve the gold and silver medal. But sport's not like that, is it? Switzerland have had success in this race before. The last medalist for Switzerland was Stefan Bissiger in 2019. The year before, Mark Hirschi took the title. Before that, Switzerland hadn't really been that successful in the under-23 championship. And now Huber is saying back to Finn, which he should do. Just keep fighting at me, you do some work. It's a mind game going on between these two riders right now. Finn wants Huber to do more work, he wants to tire him out, he knows he's tired. Huber knows potentially, I can hang on to this guy and I can beat him at the finish line. So it's not a done deal for either of these riders. So there's still a game being played. Bike racing is all about knowing how much energy you've got, how you use it, and how you use everything to the best effect. Here's our chasers. What a bike race we've had today. Can they come back? They're still only 43 seconds behind, so if these two falter, they again mess around. Then they can come back in. 144 is the gap to the peloton, so the peloton is not in the game anymore. Huber says to Finn, do some work, and now this is a bad moment. This is a moment where this race could be lost. They need to keep working. Enough of the games, enough of falling out. You're at the front of a world title. And if they start to mess around, the three chasers can come back into this bike race. Alvarez, Gadulovic and Schretzel are still behind, and they're not far behind. They cannot afford to throw away this World Championship, having done everything right. On to Kigali Golf. They need to sprint up this one. And Lorenzo Finn starts the acceleration, and now he wants to go away. Huber fighting for all he is worth. Finn now puts in the hammer blow, and the Italian starts to ride away. A massive acceleration of Lorenzo Finn, exactly what he did last year in the Junior World Championship. He knows how to play the game of bike racing, and he does it to incredible effect. Finn goes. Huber hangs on now to just try and fight his way to the top of Kigali Golf. Lorenzo Finn in the Maglia Tour of Italy is in the ascendancy in this under-23 World Championship. This rider has basically, this morning, written the script of how this race should go, and he has demolished the opposition. Lorenzo Finn is almost at the top of Kigali Golf. Now we see him grimace for one of the first times. Huber is in a world of pain, a world of hurt, and potentially He may well lose a medal. Switzerland urge him to the top of this climb. It's 9 seconds. Schretzel of Austria goes on the attack. Big move of the Austrian. He now is going to try and fight for the bronze medal. Alvarez and Gudulovic are a little bit nailed to the road right now. Lorenzo Finn rides for the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe rookies, the feeder team of the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe team. He goes over the top of the climb, settles himself in. Huber refuses to give in as he hauls his way to get some relief from the gradient. Turns left now and goes for the silver medal at least. Hector Alvarez. He's been one of the main animators of this race. You have to admire the way he's ridden. 5.5 kilometres of racing now to go. This is our third rider on the road. If you're just joining us now, Lorenzo Finn of Italy is first on the road. Huber of Switzerland is second. Schretzel of Austria is third. And now this rider goes into time trial mode. 5.5 kilometres to go. He starts to feel the intense pain of an incredible effort. Tongue is out. He's all out right now. "16 seconds. Schretzel is 40 seconds behind in the fight for this silver medal. See the salt on the backs of these riders. Lorenzo Finn. At this intensity, it's easy to make a mistake. He looks across. 4.8 kilometres of racing to go. There's the timeline. The peloton is way, way behind. Now he gets into the mode to go to the bottom of the final climb of this race. The cobbles await. He's going to have a good eyesight to see that. Coming in there at 70k an hour and the port is on the corner. Lorenzo Finn now, this is that acceleration where it just went away. He went 21 kilometres solo last year, but the Italians are already celebrating. Into Aero Tuck, 3.5 kilometres to go. He'll reach the bottom of the final cobbled section with 1.1 kilometres of racing remaining. Then it's about a full-out effort to the top of the cobbles. Once he gets there, he'll be safe. 20 seconds to Huber now. This rider, in this 164.6 kilometres of racing, has never faltered. His team have been incredible. In particular, Pietro Matteo has been one key rider in this amazing ride of Lorenzo Finn. Alessandro Borgo and Simone Gualdi were incredible too. What a lineup the Italians brought to this race. 3 kilometres to go now for the rider in the silver medal position. He still holds on to potentially giving Switzerland the silver this afternoon. Lorenzo Finn now turns the corner, gets ready, settles himself and goes onto the cobbles for the very final time. Looks ahead, 11% this awful gradient at the bottom. His teeth will be chattering together. He'll feel every single little bit of pain with even more intensity. Huber is still there, 21 seconds. He hasn't totally cracked. That's impressive because it would be very, very easy to do so. Huber still pushing. Those shoulders are still there. He hasn't lost it completely. He's still only 24 seconds behind. Schrettel is at 109. The chase is at 118. Huber still has some power in those legs. The top of this climb is at 1.1. He's got 1 kilometre of painful cobbles to go. Schrettel now makes his way onto the cobbled section. The bronze medal beckons for Austria. Kadulovic and Alvarez are still behind. They're only 8 seconds behind this rider. I hope you've enjoyed this race. What a race it's been. So much to absorb, so much to talk about. Alright, so Finn, what a bike rider this young guy is. This is the under-23 World Championships we're watching. This rider is 18 years of age. He is the youngest rider in this bike race. Are we watching the next generational talent of bike racing globally? Because this rider is the youngest rider in this bike race. This is the under-23 World Championship. This 18-year-old is destroying the opposition. Schrettel hanging on right now, still for bronze. The 2 riders behind believe that it's possible. Finn can see the top. The final stretch of cobbles. It looks like a Belgian classic as we make our way here in Africa to the top of the final rise here in Kigali. Lorenzo Finn's head moving side to side. Huber is 31 seconds behind. He still holds 41 seconds, or 44 seconds actually, on the chase. In terms of the silver medal, he checks over his shoulder. He goes now to the 1 kilometre to go point. Lorenzo Finn has produced the ride of the day. Huber is almost at the top. This rider deserves a medal, there is no doubt. He's hung on so valiantly to the wheel of Lorenzo Finn today. Finn has been an immense talent. The thumbs are up, he checks behind. He went on the attack with 39 kilometres to go. He was joined after another attack by Huber at 32 kilometres to go. 500 metres now remain. What a day for Sheffield, because this morning Sheffield took a world title. This afternoon, Lorenzo Finn's dad's from Sheffield. He's an Italian rider from Genoa. His mum is Italian. Last year, he was the junior world champion. This year, he comes into the under-23 World Championship as the youngest rider and basically destroys all of the best under-23 riders in the world. The top of the climb arrives. This has been the most incredible ride by the youngest rider in the bike race. It was like he wrote the script. It was like he had a remote control because he made every single move. And when he made a move, every single move was perfection. What a talent, what a ride. Grande Lorenzo, the world champion, is the youngest rider in the bike race.
tanze
goes
pisa
back
unagize
to
gutanga
back.
pisa ikigenza
Take a bow.
Hey.
Lorenzo Finn, world
It's all right.
champion, 2 years running, junior under 23.
ntabwo yari uwa mbere
Here comes the silver medalist, Jan Huber. An incredible performance by this Swiss rider today. He did everything he could. He gives Switzerland the silver medal. Behind him there's going to be a chase for the bronze. But this rider deserves everything he's got today. What a valiant effort. Second place for Huber. Take a bow. That was very special. It looks like it's going to be a bronze medal for the Austrian rider. He's been involved in all the action today. Marco Schrettel is going to give Austria, by the looks of things, the bronze in what has been the most incredible race. It all comes down to whether you have the legs on this course in Kigali. You have nowhere to hide. Bronze medal to Austria. Marco Schrettel is on the podium. Alvarez coming up now. He's the second youngest rider in the race. Alvarez just out of the medals in 4th place. He's only 7 days older than Lorenzo Finn. Gadulovic in 5th. Have we just seen the next generational talent in bike racing? Because to do that is something incredible. Now they sprint for the line, looking for the minor places. France and Spain sprinting for the finish. 6th place is going to be Spain, crossing the line to take the position. It was Paul Marty ahead of Victor Lelog. Just looking to see where his first teammates are. I think there'll be a few minutes. There's not one anywhere close to him. So in control. Emotional moment for the Italians.
nta gihugu cya afurika wabona muri
Still waiting for his teammates. He might have to wait a little while because they are a long, long way back. They're about 7 minutes down the road. Borgo, Gualdi and Matteo. Average speed 41.592. Here's the result of the men's under 23 road race. Lorenzo Finn wins
ureho connexion
in 3 hours 57 minutes and 27 seconds. He beat Jan Huber by 31 seconds. Marco Schrettel in 3rd place.